Hey, this is Chris Goff, and in this training video, we're going to be talking about how to find pre-foreclosures and build a marketing campaign, all coming up. Now, before I get started, if you're new to investing in pre-foreclosures, you need to go to our education center of REIPro and go through our 7-part training series, where I can go into detail teaching you the entire process. This is a very niche business, and not many investors understand how to connect all the dots. Here, I'll show you how. Now let's jump into LeadPro and find some pre-foreclosures along with building a marketing campaign. So the very first thing you want to do is actually enter a location. In this training, I'm going to use Houston, Texas. Next, you want to go over to what are you looking for? Obviously, we're talking about pre-foreclosures. Now you could list stack this, meaning I could also tag that pre-foreclosure as an absentee owner. You could also come down and say, out of those, how many are actually vacant? In this example, we're just going to be looking at the pre-foreclosures. But let me show you a couple of other ways. Now, if you're just getting started and you're really not sure how to filter this list down, you can go to our search by strategy and select pre-foreclosures, where we actually have a predefined set of filters to help you get started. Another way to actually access this is to go down to our foreclosure heat map. Here you have the ability to actually click on the state. Once you click on the state, you can also select by specific counties. You'll see here the total number of pre-foreclosures in each county. Now let's go back up to the top. We've already set Houston, Texas, and pre-foreclosures as our lead type. We're going to click search. As you can see, we have over 2,400 properties that are currently in pre-foreclosure. Now, some of these properties could have been in pre-foreclosure for quite some time that do make plans with their banks and work out some type of deal with them. So the status from the actual county is still showing that it's in pre-foreclosure. When we're building a marketing campaign, we have to only target the properties that actually have a future auction date. So the first thing that I want you to do is to go up to your filters button. Here, I'm going to scroll down and actually just target single family homes. Now, of course, you could target any type of property that's in pre-foreclosure. Next, I'm going to scroll down to the auction date and check future only. This is going to give me time to market to these properties and do something before that auction date, because the auction date is the deadline date for the owner. If the owner doesn't do something by this auction date, they're going to lose the property, they're going to lose the equity, and eventually a sheriff's going to come in and not only take them out of the house, they're going to take all their stuff out of the house. So that level of motivation is already high. Now, if it also goes to that auction, of course, you know that it's going to damage their credit. But a lot of people don't realize that if you have a foreclosure on your credit report, you may not even be able to pass a rental application because these people are going to have to move. So us as investors, if we can actually bring the loan current prior to the auction date, we're going to eliminate this entire mess that the homeowner is getting ready to go through. Now, we also have recording date. For me personally, I don't care when the recording date was per se. I'm more interested in when is this going to auction. Now, of course, if it was recorded quite some time ago, they could be a lot further behind on those payments. But we can help eliminate some of this stuff by going into our property values, especially potential equity. I always like to set this at about 30% for the minimum. So they have to have at least 30% in equity. Now, this could change depending on the price points of where you live. 30% of a $100,000 house is not that much money, but 30% of a $700,000 house, we have to look at different price points. You need to understand your market. Now, Houston is a very large place here. But wherever you're looking to invest, be sure that whatever that percentage amount, if you're in a more of that 100,000, you might want to raise that potential equity to 50%. But if you live in multi-million dollar areas, you might want to lower that to 20% as an example. I have found 30% works pretty good. Anywhere between 20 and 30%. Let's just say that. One thing I do like to do is exclude any HELOCs and any reverse mortgages. I'm then going to scroll down to the property attributes. Now, can we target specific bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, lot size, year built? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I know that this owner is getting ready to lose everything. If I can make the numbers work, it's almost irrelevant to me if it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath or a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. If the numbers end up working out, it's a deal. Again, look, the homeowner's in trouble. I'm not going to get super particular unless you're an investor that says, hey, Chris, I only buy in this particular area. Then, of course, you could start throwing in, hey, I like to buy 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes at a minimum. That's going to be very personal to who you are as the investor and what your buying criteria is. Next, I'm going to scroll down to the owners and go to individual owned. Generally, this is where I want to talk to somebody that can actually make a decision. It's tough to sometimes reach out to these company owners because you're going to talk to an employee. The message is never going to get relayed right. It makes it very difficult to have that communication. Now, before we hit apply, there's one thing that I want to go back up to, which was the estimated values here. As you could see, I didn't really set any value. Now, a lot of people could go in and say, hey, I buy between this number and that number. To me, working the pre-foreclosure business, it's irrelevant on what the price point is because we're not actually going to the bank and buying it at that number. Our goal is to make up whatever the back payment is, that reinstatement amount, to bring the loan current. And I can tell you, if you're a wholesaler, this is a home run strategy for you to assign to a rehabber because they don't have to go and beg for a loan and put 20% down. They just have to make up these back payments. We're then in turn going to have the property deeded over to that new buyer. It's going to give the buyer an opportunity to fix up the property, put it back on the market, and resell it. Once they resell it, it's going to pay off the owner's original loan. So investors are going to love you because number one, it doesn't go on their credit report. They could buy as many as they can get their hands on. They don't have to beg for a loan, and it's going to cost them a lot less money to jump into the deal. So this is why I really don't focus on the estimated value part. Now, again, the end buyer, after the house is all fixed up, the more expensive the property is. Sure, you could lower your buyer pool because of that. But if we're buying it right, at the right numbers, someone will always buy this deal. Next, I'm going to go down and apply these filters. That brought us to a total of 201 properties. Now, keep this in mind. This is just the Houston boundary. One of the things that I really like to do to expand my search, obviously, you could come up to the search box and actually enter in different locations. But one of the cool things is this search by map. By using the search by map, you're going to see that all the properties that fit my filter criteria are going to fall wherever you put the map, not necessarily defined by the Houston boundary. So as an example, you may focus from the center of Houston all the way up to the north. Now, if that were the case, you could type in different counties. You could type in Conroe, Texas, Cleveland, Texas, and so on. But this is a very fast way of doing it. All you have to do is just zoom in. I could scroll to my different areas. And again, you could go full map view here. I'm now going to go to my draw tool and literally start taking all of the properties that fit within the boundaries of where I want to invest. Now, I didn't get every single one here, but as you can see, as an example, you could utilize the draw tool and draw up to 8 different shapes. I'm going to shrink the map here, zoom out, and you could see all the properties that fell within my drawing tool here. Now, what do I want to do? After you've gone through and cherry picked all of the properties that meet your buying criteria, I now want to move them to a marketing campaign. So in this brief example, I've only selected 52. Of course, you may want to go in and select a lot more. I want to go to my actions button. I'm going to select all 52 leads. You could also select a very certain number of leads. And if you order postcards through us, you could set your budget amount and we'll tell you how many leads you can afford based on your budget. Here, I'm just going to select all 52. Now you have some options here. You could add to a marketing campaign. You could add it to your Save Properties section, and you could export this list and do something else with it. I'm going to add it to a marketing campaign. Now here, I'm going to label the name of this campaign. I can also set the campaign type is a pre-foreclosure. If you already had an existing campaign, you could add it to an existing campaign without creating a new one. But before I do this, I want to show you something really cool, especially if you're going to be marketing pre-foreclosures every single month. I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to go back to my filters, and you're going to see this new records only. So now that I've set my filters, I'm going to check this. I'm then going to save my search. And now click Save. Now this saved search is going to be on the homepage of LeadPro. So each month, if I move these leads into a campaign and I come back next month, I don't want to see these leads anymore because I'm already doing something with that. So this is a great way to set your filters kind of a one time and then run your searches if you do it every other week or if you do it once a month to see what else is new out there. I can then take those properties, move them to a campaign, and just really set this on autopilot. So we're going to back out of this and we're going to actually move these to a marketing campaign. I can then set the campaign type to pre-foreclosure and add selected leads. I'm now going to go over to our marketing tab. Here you're going to see the list Houston pre-foreclosures, and we have 52 of them. Now there's some things you could do here. From a direct mail standpoint, you could order postcards right through the system. You could also print letters. We have a ton of different letter templates already pre-built for you. You can also upload any kind of custom postcards or letters into the system. Our ListMate service actually cleans the list according to the United States Post Office. It also checks for a change of address. And last but not least is doing a bulk skip trace. Here we can find owner contact information, up to 3 landlines, 3 cell, and any emails found. Now, before we order postcards, there's something extremely important that I want you to do. I want you to click on the name of your campaign. If I click the auction date, it's going to sort that. So as you can see, the next auction date is going to be about 3 weeks from the date of recording this video. So I know that I have time to actually market these properties. Now, if the auction was tomorrow, as an example, you would want to eliminate this from the list by simply coming over, checking those properties where you know you don't have time to market them, go up to the actions, and you could delete those selected. In this example, we actually have time to market this. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to order postcards. One thing I like about sending direct mail versus just picking up the phone and calling them, a lot of times these people are screening their calls. They're not just getting calls from the banks. They could be getting calls from their attorneys that are representing the banks and just being harassed about sending in payments. But of course, we know that if they haven't, it's because they can't afford to do it. Now, you do have a couple of options of a single mailer, a double mailer, or even 3 mailers going out. So you could have 3 different postcards, and then you could set the frequency. If you stay on top of this, you can set this up to reorder another campaign as you see fit. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to scroll over and click continue. Here, I need to select a postcard. Like I said, REIPro comes complete with over 90 templates. Feel free to create your own template and upload it into REIPro and use it. One of our most popular templates is the Jenga block. So I'm going to select that card and click continue. Now is where I want to set my contact information on the postcard for people to contact me. We have 2 lines, a line 1 and a line 2, and I always like to put the phone number first and then a website. Now, if you don't have a website, obviously you could leave it blank. You could put an email address in there, but a lot of times people want to go to a website to learn a little bit more about what you do and how you can help them. You also have the ability to set a return address as well as mailing yourself a card. Next, I'm going to scroll down and click continue. Here is giving you the opportunity just to verify that the contact information does look correct. You're going to scroll down, click I approve, and continue. Now, this is one of the most important steps from my point of view that it's about cleaning your list. If your list isn't clean, per the post office, not necessarily tax assessor, but per the post office, you could get returned mail. So I highly encourage you, run this list made check. It's not only going to just sweep through the NCOA looking for any change of addresses, but it's also going to check for any kind of address errors. And I want you to think about this for a second. Not everybody in pre-foreclosure stays in the home to the very last day. Some people pack up and move on with their lives. The last thing that they do is call the tax assessor and say they moved. Usually what people do is go to the post office and do a change of address. So if they did, we're going to be able to pick that information up. Now, once you run this and clean this particular list, I can then go to the payment side and get these cards out. Now that I have marketed material out, now I'm waiting for phone calls, or I'm waiting for someone to fill out a form on my website to contact them. Finding deals is always the most important step. Without the deal, all the other steps really don't matter. And I want you to continually focus on the consistency of your marketing. Create follow-ups. Remind yourself to do reorders. Change up your marketing. Maybe I send a postcard the first time, and then maybe I follow up with a text message. Or maybe I send a letter and then a postcard. Or maybe I just change the postcard. Keep working on how you deliver this information to people, because look, the fact of the matter is, they are running out of time. And the only person that can actually get them out of this mess is you. So I hope you enjoyed this training video. Be sure to subscribe, click that like button, and I'll see you on the next training video.